Everyone's so quiet. All right. Well, since everyone's so quiet, I'll go ahead and we'll start the meeting. It's just 7 o'clock, almost by a second. So, hello everybody, and welcome to our board meeting. It is July 10th at 7 o'clock. I'd ask the deputy clerk if you wouldn't mind taking the roll call, please.
All right. Trustee Bachner.
Here.
Trustee Gillis.
Oh, can she do it yet?
Oh no, not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know.
Trustee Vasquez. Here. Trustee Brennan.
Here.
Trustee Johnson.
Here.
Trustee O'Connell.
Here.
President Ducci.
Here. Okay, if I can have a motion to allow Lisa to join by telephone, given work obligation.
Motion to allow Lisa Gillis to attend the meeting by Zoom because of work.
Second.
Okay, very good.
Trustee Bachner.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan. Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee O'Connell.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Welcome, Lisa. Okay, so
Thank you.
yep. If I can ask everyone to stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Citizens' comments. Right. Okay. Fire department. Flagpole. Okay. Okay. If I can ask, looks like Heidi, if you want to just step. Hi. How are you today?
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you can. Hi. Good evening. My name is Heidi Kieselstein, and I live at 1001 Jackson. Thank you for the opportunity to make a public comment. Still too loud?
No, it's good.
On the night of July 3rd, I was at home alone and went down to my basement to do some laundry. My basement was flooding. The water was coming from a pipe in the basement. A seal had corroded on a pipe in the boiler room, and water was flowing in. The boilers, hot water heater, so much equipment was at risk. The water continued to flow, and I had no idea how to stop it. I started calling plumbers, but this was an emergency. So I called the River Forest Fire Department. 2 firefighters came over right away. The firefighters assessed the situation, figured out where the water was coming from, an upstairs bathroom, shut that valve, and stopped the flow. They likely saved us thousands in potential property damage. After the firefighters stopped the flow of water, I wasn't sure what to do. Would it be safe to plug in the shop vac? For example, could I turn on more lights? They gave me clear directions. I started cleaning up. I sincerely thanked the firefighters and assumed they would be on their way. But the firefighters were not done. One grabbed our shop vac, and they both started clearing water. They moved heavy boxes and other items out of the way. They created order in my flooded basement. In short, they had responded immediately, assessed the situation, located the source of the problem, shut the water, gave me direction, created order, and then literally bailed out buckets and buckets of water. They went above and beyond, and they did not leave until the situation was very much under control and the plumbers were on the way. The 2 firefighters who came over were Mike and Chris. I don't even know their last names. As I thanked them, one said to me, "We love our residents. We love taking care of our residents. And right now, we are taking care of you." Can you imagine? A few days later, I dropped off a big tray of cookies and thank you note at the firehouse. I did not see Mike or Chris, but another firefighter greeted me. I told him about my recent experience. He said, when people think of the fire department, they think about fire, but we do so much more. Clearly, they do. I cannot say enough about how professional and kind these firefighters are, but I am sure you already know. Still, I felt compelled to come to the meeting tonight to tell you about my recent experience. I am so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing that great story. We do have a great fire department. Actually, we have a great staff all the way around. So yeah. Oh, yeah. She's right. You got a great daddy too. Okay, so thank you again for that great comment. We've got one more comment, Mindy, but it's for the flagpole, so I'm going to wait until we get to that section, if that's okay. Okay. Oh, Phyllis. Yes, I'm sorry, Phyllis, because you wrote in and it wasn't on my list, so my apologies. Please come to the podium. Thank you.
Of course, I'm laughing because this always happens to me, right?
I know.
Don't have me on
Sorry,
the
and
list.
you actually do what we asked you to do is tell us when you want to speak. So I
do what?
apologize.
What did
You
I do?
actually do
I
what we
did
asked
what
you to do. To give us some heads up. So my apologies. I gotta remember to make sure we put that on there.
It's okay. It'll be our little joke.
Okay.
As you are aware, I'm Phyllis Rubin. I'm 411 Ashland, 6B, due east of here. As you are aware, beginning in August, the city of Chicago has received over 11,000 migrants seeking sanctuary in Chicago. Approximately 40 of them are currently sleeping at the Austin Police Station. Over the last 4 months, a coalition of over 100 people, many of them residents of River Forest, Forest Park, and Oak Park, and other surrounding areas, have come together to form a police station response team. This team, supported by community members, nonprofit organizations, and the Austin Police Department, provides immediate and urgent assistance with essentials such as food, water, clothing, healthcare support, accompaniment, and, to the extent possible, legal assistance. In order to make these efforts more sustainable for the current and future arrivals, which keep coming, we believe we need a partnership between a volunteer corps and local and state governments to secure shelter and support and to allocate resources in an equitable way.
Mm-hmm.
More specifically and immediately, we face a situation where we need to address both housing and food security, and are looking to connect with people who may be able to provide tangible help, whether it is through options for apartment rentals, temporary shelter agreements and arrangements, and or access to food. And we are turning to villages such as River Forest to expand on the spirit of our 2017 welcoming ordinance and help lead the way in crafting some kind of relief for these immediate needs that's sustainable, really. We want something to be sustainable. In a recent town hall event in June, we secured the support of Senator Don Harmon and State Representative Camille Lilly to meet for further conversations. Would you, in your capacity as elected representatives for the Village of River Forest, also be willing to meet with volunteer leaders and other elected officials for a more in-depth discussion and conversation on this situation, one that could lead to creative solutions and practical next steps? I want to tell you that 4 months ago, when this was building up in Austin, when they were sending these the migrants to Austin, I'm connected with Austin People's Action Center, and they contacted me and said, what do you have? What can you do? We don't have the resources that Oak Park and River Forest have. Come on, people, stand up. I'm coming to you with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just say, of course, we'd be certainly happy to sit down and have conversations, but I would also want to invite or include, we have a Citizens Corps that is part of River Forest. I don't know if it's still incomplete. I know James Flanagan is been involved. But
Jim Flanagan, yeah.
Yeah, Flanagan. So Jim is, I know he's been involved, so we'll reach out to him to see how much they're still involved, but they're all about the volunteer. They're volunteers themselves, and they help with volunteer efforts like this and other emergency efforts as well. And then I would also recommend that we include the township, because the township has a lot of those services available too. I mean, it's just not housing, like you said, it's other,
all of them.
All of it. So, so I would recommend those, organizations as well.
Okay.
I'll just
right.
ask that we'll figure it out and
We'll
make
contact
it happen.
you. Okay.
Good. All right. Thank you, Phyllis. And I will definitely try to remember this next time.
Kathy,
We're gonna have a system. Yeah.
can I just ask about that? About a month or two ago, we said that we would connect with Oak Park, and a couple of organizations reached out to us. Has there been ongoing communications around that?
Not at this point, not with the village, but we'll certainly look into that.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Erica. Okay, thank you. All right, I think that concludes for now our comments. So I gotta keep that in front of me. Okay, so we will go around and do the elected officials and comments. So maybe start with you this time, Trustee O'Connell. If you don't mind.
I really have nothing. I was when I was reading the village board packet over the weekend, I was trying to figure out when Officer Ransom got promoted, and then I was glad to see it on the agenda tonight. Apparently, I didn't read the agenda; I just went into the meat of it. So, so that's a great bit of news that we have tonight.
Yep.
But other than that, I've got nothing else.
Yep, great. Thank you, Bob. Ken?
Okay, and I don't have anything at this point. So.
Katie?
The only thing I have to report is that since our last meeting, Sheila Radford Hill and Matt and I got together and sort of did a debrief and recap of this year's Juneteenth flag raising. And I've got a few action items I still haven't done yet on that, but I will, and sort of in preparation and setting ourselves up for a successful flag raising next year. And I think the plan is to hand off the organization of this to the DEI group that has a community outreach committee. It seems to work well with the focus of that community outreach committee. So working on that to hopefully hand that over. And then I guess just wanted to ask, I don't think any of the representatives from Sedgwick or Lake and Lathrop developer are here. Have we asked them to come to our meeting tonight?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, we did invite them.
Thanks.
Rez?
Okay,
is that
just,
it,
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
That is,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Okay. Just one item. I want to recall and remind everyone we have a partnership between Oak Park, River Forest, the villages, as well as the townships, including the Northwest Housing Partnership as it relates to our senior home repair program. I'm just a quick shout out that our program received a Community Partnership Award for the example of what we should be doing for our seniors, as well as it relates to the home repair services. So kudos to the group. So
Yeah,
okay.
Great. Okay, thank you. Erica?
I'd like to start with a
I'll get
land
you, Lisa.
acknowledgement. So
Yes, Lisa.
as we begin, we are mindful that we hold these meetings on lands that was once and still inhabited by indigenous people, including the Ojibwa, the Chippewa, Menominee, Potawatomi nations, and more. We will remember our nation's history and honor the Native people as stewards of this land that was colonized, and that River Forest continues to be a place many people from diverse backgrounds live and gather. And that's it. Just happy summer. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July. Yep, not much more.
Great, thank you, Erica. Lisa?
And unmute yourself.
Oh,
Hold on. We can't hear you. Okay.
but that's on here.
Yeah. See if you can raise it.
Can you hear us, Lisa?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we
but now.
Okay. I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay.
Should have said that.
Anticipation,
Should
yeah.
have said nothing.
Anticipation.
All right. I have just one item. Matt and I met with the executive director, or the director of ARP, last week in regards to both our age-friendly committee report and our effort to make our community age-friendly, and the framework that AARP comes up with in terms of the items that we would need to look at to become an age-friendly community by AARP standards. So it was a great meeting, and I really believe that we're going to have a great relationship with the Illinois chapter of AARP. So that was a good meeting. Other than that, what? Right. But other than that, for me, I'm finished. So the next one up is the swearing in for our Ben Ransom. We'll ask our deputy chief to do the work.
Raise your right hand, please. I, Benjamin Ransom,
I, Benjamin Ransom,
having been appointed to the office of Police Sergeant
having been appointed to the office of Police Sergeant
in the village of River Forest,
in the village of River Forest,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Police Sergeant to the best of my ability.
of the office of Police Sergeant to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Great job. Great job.
What we'll do is just say a couple words
Yes.
about Ben, and then we'll have his brother David Ransom come up and
Yep.
pin the star on him.
Yep.
A lot of you already know Ben Ransom from the amazing work he's done over the past several years. Some of the trustees and the village president have, of course, worked with him directly on some of their initiatives. To give a little background on Ben and where it all began, he started his career with the police department back in October of 2012. He worked as a patrol officer, received many nominations for Officer of the Year, and in 2019 he transitioned into the Crime Prevention Bureau and the fine individual that you had before you today. Ben took over the responsibility as Crime Prevention Officer, School Resource Officer, Business Liaison Officer, and Elderly Services Officer. Over the past 4.5 years, Ben has shaped the Crime Prevention Unit to address the important issues facing our police department in the village of River Forest, including school violence, which includes bullying, cyber crimes, through his work with a state task force that he is on, police response to autistic individuals, and helping to create and work on a dementia-friendly River Forest. And there's so many of them, and this meeting I know would go too long if I continued. Ben in 2020 was awarded, for those of you that might remember this, the Illinois Elderly Service Officer of the Year Award on behalf of the Illinois Attorney General's Office. And this is for his efforts within the elderly community during the COVID pandemic, which he worked with many of the trustees and other organizations, both public and private, during that time frame. In 2021, our police department nominated Ben for the International Association of Chiefs of Police 40 Under 40 Award, which recognizes 40 law enforcement professionals around the world that demonstrate leadership and exemplify commitment to their profession. On June 5th, 2023, our Board of Fire and Police Commissioners met with 3 candidates on top of that sit on top of the sergeant's list. And after the final interview, Ben Ransom was chosen to be our next sergeant. The sergeant vacancy had been created when Sergeant Swerzinski, now Commander Swerzinski, was promoted. Tonight, you'll see Ben has a lot of support with him. You'll see his family that's here, Stephanie and his wife Stephanie and daughters Natalie and Julia, his parents David and Sandy, in-laws Pete and Amy Calabrese. Ben is also joined by his siblings David, Peter, and Esther, with their significant others. And he has some close friends with him, and you'll see some individuals from our bordering communities. We have Officer Rudy Kral from the River Grove Police Department. And not last but least, we will mention Ben's brother, David Ransom, who's representing not only his brother tonight, but the Elmwood Park Police Department. Please join me in congratulating Sergeant Ben Ransom to the rank of sergeant and for him to go back out on the streets eventually and continue the good work and train up and mentor all the officers, especially with all the information he's garnered and experiences over the year.
Yeah, great.
Great.
Woo. Yeah.
Does the board have a moment to take a picture with
Yeah, of course.
Sergeant Ransom and family?
Yes. Please. Start. So long as he wants to take a picture.
He's been the ambassador or face of the department for many years now. Everyone knows Ben.
Yeah, oh, I know. I could say this, Sergeant Ransom has been the face of the police department, I know, in all the schools. They just think the world of you and all that you do for our community. So congratulations on your promotion, well deserved, and thank you to the family for being here and being part of this wonderful opportunity to promote Sergeant Ransom. So welcome aboard again. Great. All right, now the boring stuff comes. So we'll give you a moment. If you'd like to leave, that's okay. We don't take it personally. Okay. So hopefully we'll have some refreshments for Ben. Okay, so let's move on to our consent agenda. It's item number 5. If I can get a motion and a second to move consent agenda A through H.
Make a motion.
Yeah, can I ask if we can pull
Yep.
one item before we do that? F. Item F, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve agenda items A through E and G through H.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments regarding those items? Hearing none, I'd ask the deputy clerk to please read each of the items and then take the vote.
Item A, Village Board of Trustees meeting minutes, June 26, 2023. Item B, Village Board of Trustees executive session minutes, June 26, 2023. Accounts payable, May 2023, $2,030,533.54. Administration Department report, D, Administration Department report. E, monthly department reports. G, purchase of camera storage server, $53,770. H, a right-of-way encroachment waiver and agreement for an irrigation system in the public right-of-way with the property owners at 1018 Park Avenue.
Okay.
If I could just make a note there to clarify that the amount for the storage server is $44,875.90.
Okay. If you can take the vote, please.
All right. Trustee Bachner,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis,
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez,
Yes.
Trustee Brennan,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee O'Connell.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so then I need a motion to move F in a second, and then we can discuss it.
I move that we approve a consent agenda item F, Village Hall Fire Department Apparatus Bay Roof Improvement Contract with Garland DBS, Inc.
Do I hear second?
Second.
So I asked to pull this just because I wanted to understand how this worked. It looks like we're being asked to approve a contract with the overseeing entity, Garland DBS, which is in Cleveland. And are they going to be hiring a subcontractor, DCG Roofing, to actually do the work?
Yeah, so Garland is a company that essentially it's a joint bid. So we hook up with Garland through the joint bid. They, through Omnia and U.S. Communities, won the bid for roofing and waterproofing on a separate contract, but the state allows us to utilize them for similar work. So yes, we use them essentially as a project manager. A lot of nuances to roofing and what can be, have a membrane applied over it versus what needs to be replaced. So they've kind of managed all of this for us. They recommended we have the thermal scan, which is attached to the packet as well, to help inform the scope of work that needs to take place. They then actually put the specs together. It's kind of turnkey for us. We have not had to do anything, which is good because we don't have any roofing experts on staff. They go out, they bid the project, they put the specs together for us. They come back to us with DCG's low bid, and all three of them, frankly. And so DCG does the actual work, but Garland monitors the work, provides oversight for it, and then provides a 20/30 year warranty depending on the type of work that's taking place.
Okay, and so then we don't actually have a contract with DCG. We just have a contract with Garland DBS.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, and all the terms and conditions in our Garland DBS about failure to perform and indemnification, they all flow through to DCG as a sub-agent or subcontractor.
And frankly, if something were to go wrong, the contact that we've used with Garland, he's been around for years. We've used them. This is, I think, the third, possibly the fourth roofing project that we've used them for. Comes out at the drop of a hat if we have any issues. They've been very responsive. We've had really good experience with them thus far. This is the last section of roofing on Village Hall that hasn't had any work done since the building was constructed. So this should be the last of it for a while. But yes, we've had zero issues with Garland in the past. And whether they bring DCG back out to provide warranted work or someone else, Garland is the one providing the warranty. So I'm not necessarily concerned with DCG themselves coming back out to fix something that was broken, but Garland will ensure that it takes place.
Got it. Thanks. That's all I needed.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. At that price, it's probably a good thing to have oversight. Okay, any further questions or comments on this item? If none, hearing none, I'll go ahead and read it out loud and take the vote, please.
Item F, Village Hall Fire Department Apparatus Bay Roof Improvement, Garland DBS, $172,000, $291.35. And Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Gillis.
Yes.
Trustee Bachner.
Yes.
Trustee O'Connell.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to new business. Item 9A, if I can get a motion and a second to adopt this resolution.
Okay. I move to adopt a resolution in support of House Bill 2376 and further legislation reducing or eliminating the use of polystyrene foam foodware.
Second.
Okay, Corey, thank you. Okay, this is just a follow-up from our last meeting, and some of the comments that were made regarding the House bill, and some of the comments that Trustee Brennan made, and I know that the Sustainability Commission is looking at Oak Park as well, so that's in the resolution. So this is what this resolution is addressing, which I think is a good one. Any questions or comments on it?
I agree with it. I support it. We just correct the typo in the title of it, eliminating.
Oh, yeah. We will do that. Eliminating, right. Okay, great. All right, so if no other further comments or questions, let's go ahead and take the vote. It's the first on the first line. Yeah.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Gillis.
Yes.
Trustee Bachner.
Yes.
Trustee O'Connell.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have 9B. So let me get a motion in a second, and then we'll discuss this. If I can get 9B motion.
I would
Second.
like to make a motion to authorize the village staff to procure and install a second flagpole at Village Hall.
Second.
Okay, very good. All right. So, Mindy, I think. Trying to remember these.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I appreciate the Village Board of Trustees considering a second flagpole. Since I was the resident that asked for one, interjecting Doug Luce, my friend, as a residence that would go raise private money to acquire a second flagpole, I feel obliged to ask the following questions. How much money will it cost the residents to acquire the second flagpole? Where will the second flagpole be located? How tall will the second flagpole be? What will it cost the residents to install the second flagpole? Since the village paid for the progressive pride flag, how much will the village budget for awareness, advocacy, and ceremonial flags budget be? How much will this cost the residents going forward? Next, how will the village determine which awareness, advocacy, and ceremonial flags will be flown? And lastly, will the awareness, advocacy, and ceremonial flags only be flown on the secondary flagpole? I'm disappointed that the VBOT believes it's necessary to be involved in raising awareness, advocacy, and ceremonial flags, but since you do, please be transparent about the cost, size, location, and of a secondary flagpole policy governing the flags which will be flown. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mindy. Okay. So I'm going to open it up for any comments on the trustees on this, but.
Well, go ahead. I didn't know if you
Yeah,
said.
please go ahead, Ken.
My immediate thoughts are, this is kind of a bifurcated situation. We're talking about the flagpole, and then we're not, and the motion didn't necessarily talk about how we'd be governed once installed, so that would require, in my opinion, a different motion. But as far as the original motion was for the staff to procure and install a second flagpole.
Okay.
Right.
Can I add, though?
Yep.
This board approved an outdoor flagpole display policy back in May 2021. Matt was kind enough to find it and pull it, and it's not limited to a flagpole. It just says flagpole policy. So if this board decides to purchase that second flagpole, this policy would apply to it. So it's already set, unless this board wants to reevaluate it and amend it, but it would accommodate the new flagpole that we would be approving if it gets approved.
Right.
Okay. And because it addresses commemorative flags as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Right.
So I agree with Ken's point on it's bifurcated, but one thing leads to the other. So if we agree to put a flagpole, there's no reason to have a flagpole unless we have flags on it. And so I guess, as the resident, we've all gotten a couple of emails from people that have concerns over this. And so, I'd like to know more about cost, and I'd like to know more about location and maintenance and all the other things before we vote on this.
Yeah, or you
Okay.
can vote on having Matt do that work.
Okay. Well, I can
There's
table it also for a future meeting, correct?
Well, you can table the whole thing, but or you can ask Matt. We can ask Matt to do exactly that.
What's the best way to go, Counselor?
Well.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, the best way to go with a small board like this is just to get a consensus on where the board wants this to go. So, if a majority of the board is against it, and just ab initio, you can take that and vote on it then if there's a consensus against it. If most of the board members want more information, they can just express that, and Matt can take the consensus and go do the homework.
Come back.
So they're the
You're right,
But we do have a motion to authorize the village staff to procure and install, so
but we can change that.
we can change that, or we can just withdraw it and let Matt do his homework and come back once we have that information. So this is up to now Ken
the
and
majority.
Erica, since
Yeah.
they made the motion second.
Yeah,
Do
I
they want to withdraw for now, do the research, and then bring it back?
Yeah, I too would agree with that and would like to withdraw the motion based also in support of Mindy's concerns about the cost, because, you know, we, even though I don't think it's going to be a lot, it could come back to bite us, so we should at least know what we're dealing with before we proceed.
So
Erica,
then
would
you're
you
going to
agree to
withdraw your
Yes,
motion?
I do
and
withdraw my
so
motion.
I think Erica made the second.
Yeah, so I just want to say that before I do anything regarding the motion, that I think a second flagpole in general, the idea of it is perfectly fine. I reject the premise of why we are initially asking for that by this community resident. The idea that for some reason a pride flag or a progressive pride flag that includes transgender folks shouldn't be next to the American flag or any of our state or community flags. Especially at a time where there are over 520 anti-LGBTQ plus bills that have been introduced into state legislators across the country, and over 220 bills specifically targeting transgender and non-binary people. So I would love for you to get some information on it, make some recommendations about where the flagpole would be if we decide to do that. But yeah.
All right, so then withdraw the motion, you're okay withdrawing
I
it
second that,
and
yeah.
giving direction, then the consensus seems to be giving direction to Matt to look into the poll, the costs, the place, and so forth, and then report back to the village board.
Can you share with us the same information you gave Rez also, so we have that? So we
Yes,
can
absolutely.
that.
Oh, the
okay.
flagpole
Yep.
policy.
Oh, the flagpole
Well,
policy.
it's you can look it up. It's a policy.
If not,
But yes, I'll send that
we'll
out.
be happy to send it
yeah,
around again.
it's on the website.
Happy.
So-
Yeah, and it would be very important to have that policy covered,
Right.
but as Rez pointed out,
Yeah.
it does already.
It already does.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll send it around.
Okay. Lisa, you're okay with that? I didn't hear.
She's muted.
I didn't.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. All right, so then that's what we'll do.
Okay.
All right, great. So that concludes our open meeting. So we'll have a motion to go into executive session. If I could.
Make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 5 Illinois CS 120/2C11, and to discuss pending litigation, and the village board will adjourn if the executive session will not return to open session.
Second.
Okay, very good. If you can take that vote.
Trustee Johnson,
yes.
Trustee Brennan,
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis,
Yes.
Trustee Bachner,
Yes.
Trustee O'Connell.
Yes.
Okay. Couple seconds to regroup. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.